Whenever I left after high school, it was a strange feeling because I feel like I was being set free, but I also felt like I was breaking at the same time. And the reason that is because she was just the only thing I knew. You know what I'm saying? So even though I dealt with all that trauma, like I felt like, okay, I'm getting away from it, but I'm also like leaving the only thing that I know even how to manage my anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Like she would help me calm down in certain situations. She was the one we moved together. We went through a lot together, you know? And so when I left, that was tough. And I had to learn how to lean on God. That's when I found Christ. That's when I had to like take a deep dive into that relationship, to sustain me through that time period. Right. Because, and I believe he allowed me to go through that because he needed me to know that, hey, I'm your foundation. Like I'm going to sustain you through the rest of your life.
Right.
Regardless of who started with you, I'm going to sustain you for the rest of your life. And so, yeah, man, we went without talking for 10 years. And over the last couple of years, as I've grown and as I just turned 30.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now that I'm 30, I'm the age she was when she did whatever she did to me at that time. And so I look back and, I try to put myself in her shoes. A single parent, she had her stuff that she dealt with. I don't fully understand why she was the way that she was, but she had her stuff that she dealt with. And she, I think she had a lot of unresolved mental health issues. She never got therapy herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so she was just trying to figure out, life on her own. She was just going about it the wrong way. And so over the last couple of years, I've tried to have more grace for her.
Yeah.
And then after COVID, I realized people are leaving this world left and right, young and old. And so I'm like, at least both of my parents are alive. And so actually the last couple of years, I've reached out to both of my parents. And so my dad and I, we talk pretty much once a month, twice a month now.
Okay.
And then my mom and I, we've tried to progress things, but she still has some of her ways, and that's a trigger point for me. And so I've had to still set some boundaries with that, man. Yeah.
Bro, you've done a lot of healing. I can tell, bro.
Yeah,
I can tell. I can tell when a man is done healing when he can give his parents grace. Bro, especially your situation, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people don't have it that, like, you had a really, like, deep, like, traumatic situation.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to give your mom grace, bro, that's commendable, bro, for real.
Man.
That is really commendable. And I know it was not easy, bro.
No, it's not easy, man. And I think what has helped it is, like I said, naturally my faith, right? Understanding that, none of us are perfect. And I think the other thing about it is I have a different perspective on life, which is, some people go through their childhood and they look at their problems as like, okay, my life was unlucky or it was unfair or it was whatever the case may be. I look at it as God strategically allowed me to go through that so that I can be this person that I am today, so that I can help the people that I help today, so that I can be a tree that, gives fruit to everybody that needs it, right?
Yeah.
I used to think, like, why couldn't I just have two normal parents? Grow up in a good household, folks that nurtured me, that took care of me and made sure I was good. But I realized that wasn't for me.
Right.
I had to play the cards that I was dealt. And a lot of that is just a part of me understanding that. And this is after I joined the military. I realized that I have to do and control what I can control, and that's me and my perspective and how I respond to situations.
Yeah.
And so that has helped me have grace for her.
Yeah.
Because I can't change her, right? There's only three things that people blame their circumstances on or their hardships on. That's their circumstances, that's other people, and that's themselves. Two of those we can't change. We can't change our circumstances, right? We can't change the family we were born into. We can't change the state we was born in, the schools we went to. We had no control over that stuff. We definitely can't change other people. The only thing that we actually can change and control is ourselves. And so once I realized that, it was like, okay, I can take this another route. The hurt and pain is still there, but I can take this another route and try to build a relationship with the proper boundaries in place. And it's still a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Are you in therapy or were you in therapy?
I was in therapy a couple years ago when my wife actually recommended it for me. And you know, it was good, and then life got pretty hectic. I was in it for a short period of time.
Okay.
So it's funny, a lot of like the things that I've learned over years has come from either research, has come from my faith.
Yeah.
And just, you know, I believe that God has just blessed me with just a certain level of wisdom and how to, you know, kind of go through life.
Yeah.
Bro.
You talked about leaning on God when you were like going through that situation after you, like kind of graduated and you were basically free, right?
Yeah.
What did that look like? Right? Like when you say lean on God, what were you doing in that moment? Because I feel like a lot of times when people go through stuff like that, they decide to stray away from the relationship with God. So what was that moment like? How did you lean on God?
Yeah. To be more specific, the way I leaned on God is quite literally through worship.
Okay.
And so, like the thing that brought me calmness and peace, we talk about like self-care, my self-care in those moments was listening to worship music. And I feel like in those moments, I would reflect on who God is to me and how he's a protector and how he said he'll never leave me. He'll never forsake me. How he said that even though I will be blessed, I am guaranteed to go through some trials and tribulations in this life. And even at 16 to 17, I understood that. So I didn't look at him like, why are you punishing me? I looked at him like, okay, you warned me. You told me like I was going through some trials and tribulations, but you also said that I'll be okay through it all. And so I would listen to worship music every single morning. Like my favorite song was Alpha and Omega by Israel Hilton. I don't know if you know that song, but I would listen to that.
I kind of know.
Yeah. Every morning I would listen to that and I would release, like I would just literally just be crying and crying because I'm like, all right, I know that eventually things are going to get good. I just don't know when. And I'm like, Lord, I know that you got me. And that's how I would lean in on him. And then I would just pray. You know, I was a very anxious kid. Like I was very anxious. I had night terrors growing up.
Really?
I couldn't even stay the night to friends and cousins and family's house because I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would be at the door. And then I would wake up the next morning and they would be like, you don't realize what you was doing last night, screaming and yelling? I'm like, no, I don't remember any of that. And it was because of the trauma I was going through at home. Okay. So a lot of that stress was playing out in my subconscious while I was asleep, right? Because once I got away from it, the night terrors went away, right? Once I had some time away from it. And so I was a very anxious kid. And so whenever I would listen to worship, whenever I would pray, whenever I would listen to sermons, it grounded me and it made me realize, okay, like, I'm just going to lean on God. I'm just going to trust God in this situation. And I know that I'll be okay. And that's what quite literally carried me through because it was embarrassing to even talk about how she was towards me to friends or families or teammates. So I kept that stuff to myself. Only thing I could do was pray about it. Yeah.
Bro.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. Shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. Know you need to hear it, my brother.